level one might be?
Well, they use kinesiology. That's how they do it.
And then what is kinesiology?
Okay, so kinesiology.
I mean, just to kind of, fill out, do the corners of the jigsaw puzzle first.
Yeah. So kinesiology is a muscle testing technique. So you can test on different like energy strengths and levels. So it's a very simple test. You put your arm out like this.
Right.
That's one of them. There's a couple. You can do it with your thumb and forefinger as well. But I think this is the one they use typically. So you put your arm out, and then they ask you to think of a thought. And so if you put your arm out and you're thinking a positive thought, then you stay quite strong. And if you're thinking a negative thought, then you go weaker. And so they have a way of measuring energy in the body, how the body responds to thought, because it can't really measure thought directly. And so they created a scale by saying, okay, well, at what level is guilt? And you go, okay, is it 20? No. Is it 30? Stay strong. Is it 40? Go weak. And so over thousands of experiments, they constructed this table saying, okay, these are the levels.
Okay.
Backed up by some kind of testing. They did, this muscle testing. And I don't know the details of, whether that testing was audited or how, what the sample size was. But as far as I remember from his book, there were thousands of people who participated to construct the scale.
Let's assume that's kosher and it's verified, or it's statistically fine. And is it a messaging that's coming from spirit? Or is that what's happening? It's a channeling that's giving you the positive feedback on whether your muscle stays strong or whether your muscle doesn't stay strong on whatever the question is?
Yeah, I mean, your mind knows. So the idea is your mind intuitively knows the difference between positive and negative. And if you're in positive, then it responds accordingly. And that responds because the mind affects the body instantly. It responds, quite strongly. And so then you can pick that up in the strength of the muscles. And I've done it. It actually does work. They ask you to think of a positive thought, and your arm can stay strong. You think of a negative thought, and it weakens you immediately, and your arms just weaken. You're like, I didn't do anything consciously. That just kind of happened, and someone pushes down on it with the same pressure, and then you can measure, the strength or the weakness of it. And so over thousands of different, volunteers and subjects, they go, yeah, these are, repeatable patterns. So we've got a way of testing consciousness then. That was David Hawkins's idea. Can we test it, and can we create a scale of it?
And then in terms of trying to assess somebody on the scale, do you just do that? You ask about that person, and how do you know where they fit on the scale? Do you have to ask each level to find out where they are?
I think you can do like a kinesiology test on it and say, where's someone, and then you can hold your arm out and you can have someone pushing it down and say, are they at 310? Are they at 350? But truth be told, like I wouldn't really engage in that, because it's dangerous to start classifying people at levels and say, oh well, you're an anger, like you're an anger level, as Marlene said to you. Now it's very dangerous to put someone in a box, because these are states, right? Yes, you might have a general state, but you can go up and down the scale in minutes. You could be quite fearful one moment, then if you're good at it, you can let go, and you could move yourself up to willingness, and that can happen in moments. So it's more like a flux.
I was introduced to this concept by Marlene, and I found it fascinating. I didn't really understand it, and I started looking into it to try and it took me a while. I just couldn't do it all the things I'm trying to do at once. But it's definitely one of the things that was in the back of my mind, and when I came across it again, it was something I wanted to try and find out. I wanted to try and.
He's written a whole book on it. I mean, you can get the book and go into quite a lot of detail. It's called Power versus Force by David Hawkins, and I'd say it's worth reading. So it's in in the references in the course manual, the last page, this power versus force. You can find it on Loot, Take a Lot, Amazon.
PDF downloads?
It's interesting, yeah. I haven't found it, but you might be able to get it. I think it's probably still
current.
Yeah. It's not, I think it's 75 years or something. He only lived, I think he died about 20 years ago, something like that. Free PDF. Let's have a look. Free download. There we go. I think you might be able to get it. You can always download PDF. Power versus force. Download compressed PDF. Downloads PowerPoint. Downloads DocX. You never know. These are. You always wonder, like, how do they do this without violating copyright? Maybe they are violating copyright. I don't know. Okay, I'm not sure if anything's happening. I've just clicked and it's like application PDF, download, compress completed. Okay. Does it actually downloaded anything? Successfully
I think
completed.
if you click download, it'll then put it into your downloads.
Well, maybe, or it takes me somewhere else. These sites are like clickbait.
That's
You
an
go
advert,
there.
isn't it?
No.
That's an advert.
VPN. That's an advert, yeah, but it doesn't seem to have downloaded anything. So I don't know. Thank you for interesting in our services. Close the box. No, I'm not going to donate. So I don't know. It doesn't appear to have.
Okay. Well, I mean,
you can
anyway.
try and find download. No, nothing. Didn't happen. So I don't know. But
I'll look it up.
You look it up, Google it, yeah. Or just buy the Kindle for a few dollars. It's if you're interested. What I quite like about it is what he's saying. It really does dovetail with Course in Miracles and the idea that yes, there are these levels we have to go through. We ultimately, spirit is beyond levels. There are no levels in true spirit. Beyond 1,000 levels disappear, but there's a progression, and so that gives you kind of a scale of progression. So it's useful to understand where you are on the scale currently. In specific terms, you might be just having a moment where you're really anxious. Okay, well then I'm at 100. But generally, like where's your so-called vibrational frequency generally? Because that general life level is going to set the tone for your entire life. So in order to be like consistently at willingness, you need to have you can't stay there temporarily unless you've done quite a bit of work on letting go of the ego. You've gone through these stages of courage. And if you can stay there at that frequency, then you will tend to manifest things. Things come at that frequency, if you're willing. Things happen if you're willing. And so a good test, certainly at these lower levels, is to see, well, what's someone actually doing in their life? It's all very well saying, I'm so spiritual, but what are you actually doing? Because the proof of the pudding is in the eating, so as the saying goes. So what is the state of your life? How does it look in terms of every aspect of it? And then you can generally see where someone's at. And someone who's willing will generally they will be doing stuff, often running their own business, doing their own thing. They self-starter. They've got initiative. They're making things happen. Yeah. Hi, Iona.
Hi.
Hi, Anna.
Hiya. I feel a bit weary. I've been teaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll do a meditation if you like. Maybe it'll perk you up a bit.
Okay.
Anything to share? Any thoughts about yesterday?
Plenty.
Anything arising? I think I spoke to Lucy at lunchtime. Said she'd spoken to you, and both of you had a bit of an ego morning, so and an ego fug, I think she said.
Okay. Right. So she was on at lunchtime. Okay.
She was,
Yeah, I was grumpy. And then I started to write down everything that was said to me yesterday. And it's very clear. Yeah, it's very clear. Is this the place though to do this? Because I could go into it now, or we could leave it next week.
Yeah, I mean, we'll look at it in detail on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's up to you if you want to share anything. Well, being recorded, so I can stop the recording.
Well, I recognize that I am ready to be pushed into. My painting is very amazing. I know that. But I am in a place of some fatigue about getting it out onto the marketplace. Again after lockdown and after etc. Lots of life events. But yeah, it needs to be seen. And Richard, you're right. I didn't put it up. I didn't pick up the signals that you wanted to see my work. I didn't respond because it is amazing. And I'm saying that not in a boastful way. I can channel this stuff, and I am, this gateway for some really, really powerful painting. And
well, that's the thing, your true power is in the spirit. So it's not boastful to go, well, actually, this work is amazing. It's not me who's doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not really doing it. Yes, yeah. I'm putting the paint on the instrument, but the inspiration for it, like what tells you what to paint and where to paint and which brush strokes are going to go where and what colors to use.
That's all my experience, and there is 25 years of experience behind there. And I was recalling to mind today, a friend of mine says, why can I still afford you? Why can I still afford to buy your paintings? Bloody hell, it's a good question. So yeah, it is a seminal moment. The grumpiness, and then there was, well, you have to push past this roadblock.
Well, it's interesting, as we were talking about willingness just now when you came in. Richard was asking about.
I did listen to that.
And it's being willing to step up and be used. I mean, you're being done through, as David Hoffmeister puts it. You're being done through, but you've still got to cooperate with that process. Like if you block it, then it's not going to come through you. So it's like that willingness to, like, okay, you know what, I'm going to step up. I'm going to allow this to happen and just guide me. And okay, if my painting needs to get out there because it's a vehicle of transformation, right? If they are genuinely channeled paintings and they're coming from the spirit into the world, then it's another transformational modality. It's another way that the spirit can wake people up, quite a powerful way, because it's visual, it's intuitive. People like art. And who knows what's possible with it? You're already teaching. Maybe you can run art workshops. There's all kinds of stuff that can come with self-expression and so on. So there's kind of the willingness to say, okay, I don't know exactly how this is going to look, but I'm just willing to follow your guidance. Show me where to go, what to do, and if you feel like you should go somewhere or you should make a phone call, or then you do it. What's the next step? And then step by step it guides you. So it's like this journey of, if you're driving, let's say you were going to get in your car and drive to Inverness tonight. It's going to be, you're only going to see about 100 meters in front of you, but that's how you get there. It's okay, so what's the next 100 meters? And then okay, there's a curve in the road, need to turn now. There's a bend, there's a fork, okay, we'll turn right. And the journey unfolds. And you don't actually have to know the whole thing up front. In fact, you can't. It's just not how it works. And so it's similar in life. okay, I know the next 100 meters. Okay, this is where I'm at now. What's my next move, basically? Where am I going next?
Yeah.
And then you just, okay, that feels right. You take the guidance, next move, which leads to the next one and the next one and the next one. And if you keep making those small moves, you know, over time that adds up, and you go, oh wow, actually I've moved quite a long way from where I was. If I was a bit stuck in my inertia, now I've shifted and I can see, whoa, there's actually been quite a big shift in 6 months or a year. And it was just these little gradual, you know, by degrees, you move the ship. The Titanic doesn't move straight away, but it's like, okay, 1 degree, 1 degree, 1 degree.
There's been an enormous shift over 1 year. And I guess it was what, more? I need to do more. Yeah, I know need to do more. But there was just a kind of pushback at that idea.
Because what, it's you think it's too difficult? It's too tiring? What's the resistance?
The
conscious resistance. Anyway, let's talk about the conscious resistance.
My conscious resistance. Fear.
There's always a reason. The ego gives you a reason. Oh no, I'm too tired. Don't have enough time.
It's fear. It's fear of being pushed back. You know, approaching another gallery who says, "No, your work doesn't fit with us," or you know, putting a painting up with a big number on it and not getting any buyers, or not being accepted for group exhibitions. I mean, it just goes on and on and on, and it has gone on like that for a very long time. And I'm feeling a bit low on inspired thinking. Definitely.
Okay. So it's like fear of rejection and fear of the same pattern repeating itself from the past in the future.
Yeah, I know I have experienced tremendous highs. Tremendous, really. Amazing experiences.
Through painting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what I'm going to suggest, because I had a conversation with Elaine, you know, she's quite into art herself. And she's also got a business head. Maybe you should just talk to her. Okay. Have a conversation, and who knows what comes out of it. Maybe nothing. Maybe it's just she gives you some encouragement. But Elaine's thing is like she wants art to get out there, you know, and she's got some ideas about taking art from a little place called Eswatini into the UK, because it's amazing art. And so who knows, you know, maybe there's some synergy. You have a chat, see what comes. Maybe nothing, but maybe something. Maybe she can be your agent. I don't know. Maybe you need an agent.
Funny, today I just think, right, I'm going to Google agents in Scotland. Yeah, because I want somebody else out there to flex muscles. So I'm in the studio creating, and somebody else is out there saying, have you looked at your work? You need to see this. Yeah.
You need a good agent. So
yeah, well, I've never had one before.
No. Okay. Well, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? So I'll send you a number.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll tell you what. I know Elaine quite well, and we connected over art. Funny enough. And so I'll have a chat to her on the side.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's always better coming from somebody who says, you know, I go and have a look.
Okay. Thank you.
So remember with did you say one of my things was grandiosity? I think you did.
Oh, that was Lucy.
Oh, it was a Lucy. I just knew it came from Scotland.
Yes.
And I'm not at all upset about that, because I'm an entrepreneur. Yeah. And you've got to get your message out. And maybe that's why I made that comment to you, because I noticed you have a talent and you have value. And I'm going to tell you something else that Jono and I actually mentioned. We were having a quick chat just now.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you about that in a sec. And I would notice that you have incredible value in what you do and about you as a person, as a being.
Thank you.
And that I suppose was me. My comment about your art was almost your comment about me playing out where I'm looking for it in you and I'm seeing a lack of it in you.
Yes.
And it was a confidence thing, or it's a fear of rejection.
Yeah.
So we were having that conversation where you shuffled us along a bit, and it was all about fear and entrepreneurial stuff. And this is exactly what we're talking about right now. Is it applies directly to you, and I've just thought of making the connection now, in terms of your comment to me, my comment to you, and then the comment on entrepreneurial stuff. And you were going, okay, so like let's focus on the lesson. Yeah, and
I did say that.
And in fact, it related
get back to the lesson.
Yeah, but it related directly. There was a lesson for you. You were pushing the lesson away.
I did zone out. I did zone out because I did. I don't know why I did, but it didn't get me then.
But thinking about it after the fact, did you see how that's all connected? Your comment to me, my comment to you, and that previous comment.
I see the connection. Yeah, I see the connection, but I didn't relate my own situation with what you were saying, which is interesting to me. That's
what I'm trying to point out.
No, I get it. I get it.
Because you don't value yourself enough. That was my comment to you. It's that you've had rejection, but any entrepreneur, the previous rejection or the last rejection they had, they want to know why. Because it tells them something about them. So I mean, Marlene, I've known Marlene for quite a while now. And I sent her a note this morning. I said, send me some more. Send me some more like negative comments or like some crits or whatever.
Right.
And she hasn't been brave enough to do that yet, but I really am going to encourage her to do that. Because feedback is a breakfast of champions. And the more you can get people to, in a safe space like this, to give you that feedback and say, hey, why don't you? Or, hey, why didn't you?
Well, that's how you grow. And that's, almost the willingness. Entrepreneurs, really, I mean, it's a spiritual path, because you have to really be very robust and resilient.
Yes, you do. And can I ask, guys, which star signs are you?
Taurus.
Can you guess?
Yes, I can guess Taurus.
Yeah. Can you guess mine?
Virgo.
No.
What?
Capricorn.
Oh.
Okay, while you ponder that.
Verging on Aquarius.
You didn't ask me.
No. What's yours?
Cancer.
Okay.
But all my signs are in water. I am completely, and one of the comments was oversensitive, too sensitive. Yeah, well, that's the makeup. That's the makeup. And and with weak fire, it's like, so if somebody says no, it's not good. No. I'll just say, oh, fuck it then. All right.
Give it up.
Yeah.
But you're not controlled by your star sign, so you can
No,
change it.
I know, and it's only very recently that I've started asking people about it. But it's kind of got an echo. But yeah, of course I can change it.
It's a tendency. That's all it is. It's a tendency, and it's part of the conditioned programming that you come in with, and that directs your life on certain tendencies. But it's only a tendency. It's not like who you really are. So it can all be changed.
Yes.
You're at the highest level of enlightenment, and enlightenment, like star signs and these things, just don't apply. I mean, you are the ineffable bliss of being. It's like, I'm not a Cancer or Capricorn, or none of that really applies. You've transcended it. So that's where we're heading. And you're multi-dimensional. So the idea, as you're going on this path, like, there's really, everything's available to you. Like, whatever's in the quantum field, that's everything. Every positive quality and trait is available to you when you need it. So, okay, I need it. I can tap a bit like, I quite like the Matrix, because they just like download the program they need.
I know.
It's quite cool. Oh, just give me the program, download. There we go. Done.
The helicopter. And oh my God, she can fly the helicopter.
Yeah. So it's kind of showing. I mean, you can actually download this stuff. It is possible to download it in an instant, because it's all there in the quantum field. And if you know how, you can pull it down. It's like, oh, actually, I just got this download and suddenly I know how. I mean, I'll give you a classic example. It's Yogananda. Have you heard of Paramahansa Yogananda?
No.
He was a guru who was instructed by his guru to go from India to California to spread this, yoga teachings in the West. He went in the 1920s. So it was part of that whole movement where, like, the East came to the West and they were trying to teach them yoga, and he taught something called Kriya Yoga, which is amazing, actually. It's a fantastic breathwork technique. I'm fortunate to have learned. I'll tell you the story about that, but I don't want to digress. So he arrives there. He can't speak a word of English, and there's like a welcoming function for it, right? So now, and he's supposed to address them in English. No one speaks Pali or Hindi or whatever he spoke. And he's like, well, I don't really know how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So he just downloads it. He just says, well, I don't know, like, show me. And apparently he speaks in fluent English for 45 minutes. Everyone's applauding. He has no idea what he's saying, but it's perfect English. It's just coming as a download from, so it's possible.
Yeah.
To do that. And I think that's what you're doing with your art. You're downloading. And then your part in it is like, okay, but you also have a part. It's not just the creation of it. It's the promotion of it. It's the getting it out there. And that's the part you struggle with, isn't it?
It is right now. Yeah. I used to have a lot more. I have an appetite for that. I was a public relations officer. I exhibited and got the papers involved and photographers and and that seemed to be no problem, but now I've changed. Yeah.
Find you've gone more within and you prefer just doing the creation.
Actually. I've gone more within, and all that outside flim flam, it's a huge distraction. Yeah.
Well, maybe spirit will guide you to meet someone who's going to help you. So
yes, I'll affirmate for that.
No, just trust that, and give Elaine a call. It's definitely worth that to in one of the sessions. She won't join tonight, but
thank you also, Richard.
I'll set that up because it's. I think it's the right way to approach it.
Thank you so much.
John and I were just having a quick chat, and it was I that started, and I said that I was particularly impressed with Katie because she's thinking in German and she's communicating in English, and she's got some technical line issues and things like that, and I'm just so impressed with her inputs and her summations and things.
Yeah.
But more so impressed with yours.
Oh.
And and just your involvement and your summation of the lesson, and just that was the comment, is well done. Really quite intellectual, quite with it, and quite impressive. So
thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Have you studied the course before, Mariana? You have?
Yes. Yes, I have, and I've through the process of the art of the power of clearing, it's explaining very much the principles of A Course in Miracles, and listening to my mentor Sandy in many hours over 8 years, just sitting in the same room as her. So it goes in, it goes in, it goes in. But this again is another entry into the course, which is new again, and I'm really appreciating it.
Yeah, good.
I'm learning a ton.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay.
Who are the other folks with that Tudor house? The Tudor backdrop in the house in the UK.
Sue and John Reynard. They
yes.
They host this woman, Sandy Levy-Lundin, from Seattle. And it was to their house that I went in Suffolk in 2013. Yeah, they were hosting, which meant that we had a 10-day course in their house, and that's where I was introduced to the work. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I just remember them, similar to you, them also making comment that, you know, they were going through it again, and you know, if you don't kind of do it fairly regularly, if you like, you can become a bit rusty, and you can lose the context or the appreciation or the presence or whatever,
Yes.
you know, they mentioned. But
well, I took it as a strong direction from Spirit that I really needed to go back in and learn more and be involved. When my client base dried up last year, I was seeing many people for power of clearing work based on Course in Miracles, and then it just stopped. And I knew myself that I needed to take a dive in again. So I was just waiting for that moment, and it came with John's email.
Just all perfect timing.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, that's how this is. It's a resonance. I've kind of surrendered to the fact that this is not something you can mass market. It's just going to happen organically. You know, it's resonance. And then, you know, so you know someone who knows, and then you know Lucy, and Lucy knows a friend, you know, and that's how it goes. It's just like their resonance, and then it kind of just grows organically, because it's not necessarily a path for everyone. Too often people go and think, what is this? What is this actually? It's quite hard to explain. Well, what is this? You know, what is the Art of Letting Go course? It's like, okay, well,
you know everything you thought you knew. Well, you let go of that.
Yeah.
So what is it, Jono?
30-second elevator pitch. Well, I mean, you know, it's an online transformational process. 6-week online transformational process that's going to help you to really see your ego and to undo quite a lot of it and discover who you really are. But I mean, okay, so that's the 30-second elevator. What does that actually mean? What's the process entail? You know, because it's yes, there's like high level intention, and then there's, okay, so what does that mean? What do I have to do? Okay, well, you know, yeah, there's quite a bit. You know, there's lots of practices, there's daily sessions, and I don't know another thing that processes as intensive as this.
No.
So, because they just normally it's once a week, or you get recorded videos. But it's like, what's going to make the transformation happen is the intensity of the immersion in it. If you're doing it for a few hours a day, certainly several hours a week, you know, that makes a difference. So I try to put together a process that will actually work. Be like, yeah, this is actually life-changing if you do it properly, or, you know, to the best of your ability. It will actually facilitate a profound transformation in your mind and in your life. That's kind of the whole, because then you can actually say, yes, it is a life-changing course. Too often these things are bandied around. It's life-changing. Is it really? Was it a few interesting ideas, and you know, they can get packaged and marketed and spun in various ways, and you see how that's done, because I looked at other courses, and you go, but is there real substance there? Is this actually going to take me to the core of my ego? That's where you have to go. Transformation means you have to go to the core of your ego, and you have to face it, and you have to really undo it. And if you try and fudge over that, and you do window dressing, and you don't really get to the core of it, you're not really doing anything. So that's what this course is designed to do. It's like, let's get to the core of it. And no, that isn't easy work. I mean, that's not an easy session to do, is it?
No.
You got to be willing to like face the fire, like stand in the fire and face it, and you know, be willing to go, okay, yes, I'll do this, and it's uncomfortable, but I'll do it because I know that this is what I need. You know, I need some medicine, really, and the medicine doesn't always taste very good to undo this ego. So I mean, I'd say, well, you know, well done to both of you. You showed up and you did it, and now you got some insights, and then work with them. You know, do spend some time this week and do exercise 5 and exercise 6 really well. Like, work with it, and if you can get to the core of what your ego's game is, that's a hugely valuable insight, which we can then work with next week, you know, turning it around, flipping your flop. Then that leads to your higher purpose, And it's a process. And then at the end of it, you go, actually, I'm feeling quite inspired now because I've been through this whole process of clearing all that garbage out. And now I'm a clean, clear channel for the spirit. But it doesn't just happen like overnight. It's a process. So that's what it is. That's what it does. But it does require, you've got to be committed. Like I can't do it for you. You've got to be committed to showing up and doing the work and doing these sessions. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. Okay, shall we have a little look at today's lesson? It's pretty short, so I'll just have a quick read, then we'll go do a meditation, and then we can go into the text. It's 11 paragraphs, so let's see if we can crack on with that. All right, so paragraph 1. Do you want to read it, Iona?
Can you enlarge it at all? Hang on.
Yeah, I can.
Please.
Zoom in. There we go. Is that better?
A little, yeah. I sat on my glasses last night.
You're right. Okay.
Oh, hell. No, I put it far too big now. Zoom ratio. No.
I can make it smaller. So it helps.
Sorry about this.
No problem. Maybe Richard, do you want to start reading?
Yeah, could you?
Yeah, sure, I can do it.
Get it.
So the lesson is, my thoughts are images that I have made. My thoughts are images that I have made. So paragraph 1, it's because the thoughts you think appear as, is that right?
Yes. Thoughts you think you think. You're thinking. Right?
Oh, you think. Okay,
yes,
you think.
Yeah.
I like thinking there's a typo here. It's because the thoughts you think appear as images that you do not recognize them as nothing. You think them, and so you think you see them. This is how your seeing was made. This is the function you're given your body's eyes. It's not seeing. It's image making. It takes the place of seeing, replacing vision with illusions.
Okay. Something stand out for you there?
So, well, I think it's image making. So it's not reality. It's not, images are things that are created rather than an absorption of what's true, what's in front of you. That'd be a photograph rather than an image. An image can be manipulated. It can be twisted. It can be distorted.
And what he's saying is there's this connection.
You think you see them. You think you see them. That's the other key phrase there, I think.
So we think these thoughts of separation, and then we think we see images that are based on that idea of separation. So go back to our diagram, descent into hell. You think a thought of separation, okay? Even though that thought isn't real. And everything that comes from that thought of separation is also unreal or false. And now we've set ourselves up to literally go out of our minds. We're out of our minds in the dream world, and we now see things outside of ourselves, apparently. So we project everything out, project all of these false thoughts out. We see them outside of ourselves. We judge that is real. So we got sucked into this ego construct of projection. Okay, so the mind's projecting all of this on one level, and then perceiving it on another level. And we do that unconsciously. We do that so well that we've forgotten we're doing it. And that's how our reality is constructed. And so what he's saying here is a deconstruction of all of that. He's saying, you think these things, and you think that you have, sight and vision, and you can see these things outside of yourself. But this is all a projection and then a perception of thought. That's all that's going on here. So you think thoughts of separation, you project them out, you create an illusory world, you perceive the illusory world as real, you equip yourself with the body, with 5 physical senses that tell you that this world that you've projected out of your mind is real, and now you think this process is real and that you actually are seeing something. But actually you're hallucinating because you're projecting it, perceiving it simultaneously in your mind. There's nothing really there. This is a mind-created dream world. So this lesson points you to the very core of that, the mystic understanding of what this illusion really is, and that it's connected to our thinking. My thoughts are images that I've made. So everything starts with an image in your mind, and then that gets projected out, and the ego then creates the image in the so-called material world, which is just a projection of thought. So what's energy? What's energy?
Are you implying there that it's not an inward absorption of reality, it's an outward projection of an illusion or an image? It's like we're putting something onto a screen rather than opening the curtains and letting something come in.
Yeah. So we project and we have a false idea in our minds, and then we seek to make that falsity true by projecting it out. And we literally go out of our minds and we project all of this onto the screen of time and space, which is actually a blank screen. It's interesting, in the Matrix, there was this blank, you remember when they're loading the construct and he goes into the white, and then Morpheus says, well, we can load anything, whatever we want, we can load into this. So that's kind of what we've done, onto pure formless awareness, which is a blank screen. We project all of these images that are created by our thinking, our thoughts, and those thoughts are false because they're based on a false idea. They're based on the idea that I am a separate self. And that separate self now projects itself out onto the screen, creates all these images, and judges that the images are real. So I project and I perceive so well simultaneously that I don't know that I'm doing it. And that's the nature of the dream. Have you ever seen a movie called Inception?
Yeah.
Inception.
Yeah. Leonardo DiCaprio. We'll do it if you stick with us through the year. We'll watch it as one of our movie evenings because there's so much mind training material there. But he's explaining in this, it's all about dreaming and like they go into these dream states and multiple levels of dream. And so he's training this young girl in this, and he's saying this is how it works. And he explains to her that we project out, so we're dreaming, but it seems to be out of our mind because it's an image in our mind, right? Because that's all a dream is. You think you're dreaming and you think you're in some place in your dream and you think you're doing something. You can see people and that's all happening in your mind, clearly. So we're doing the same thing in this so-called version of reality. So we project it out and then simultaneously we perceive it. And there's no gap between that. And most people, it's just projection, perception, one leads into another, and most people don't even know they're doing it. But the awakened person starts to create a gap between the projection and the perception, between the stimulus and the response, put another way. And they start to be able to create space. And in that space, they can be aware, okay, well, this is showing up. Okay, but this is just a projection. It's a projection of my own mind. So why would I get upset or angry about a projection of my own mind when it's in my mind? It's not really outside of me. And this is the Holy Spirit's reinterpretation of the ego's dream. Because if I can see that, it's not really outside of me. It's actually coming from my mind. Then I have the key to undoing it.
Yeah.
This projection perception mechanism, if you can get to the core of it and you know how the ego works, and you remind yourself when the projections are showing up and you're tempted to misperceive them, then you remind yourself, look, remember what's going on here. Mm-hmm. This is a setup. I'm being set up to be upset. Every upset is a set up. But it's also a setup for a miracle, because I can choose to look at it differently and let it go and not get upset. That's always my choice. But I must start changing my perception. So the methodology in the course is saying change your perception. When you change your perception, you're automatically changing your beliefs, and beliefs, core beliefs, change the projections, you see? So now my projection, what I'm projecting out into the matrix is changed, because my core belief's changing. And so you're using this whole mechanism of projection perception that the ego's created in order to undo it. And that's the genius of the Holy Spirit, is it will reinterpret the ego's dream and the mechanisms that it's using for illusions, will reinterpret them for truth, so that you can awaken through them. And that's the genius of the Holy Spirit. You can always do that. And the ego has no real answer to that. If you really do it genuinely, the ego's got no answer. It'll just try and deflect and distract and try and get you not to do it. But if you really see that and you really do apply it, then that the ego's undone. And it knows that. And so the resistance is then like, okay, well, just don't do it. Don't go there. Don't show up. Don't do the work, because it's terrified that you're going to undo it. Which you will, truth be told. It knows, knows that this is its demise.
Yep.
Okay?
Okay.
Questions on number 1? Quite a lot in that paragraph. You see the depth of this. I mean, what he's saying here,
Yeah.
it goes to a lot. He's going to the very heart of the illusion here. How does this illusion work? And getting us to see it and deconstruct it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, number 2.
This introductory idea to the process of image making that you call seeing will not have much meaning to you. You will begin to understand it when you have seen little edges of light around the same familiar objects which you see now. That is the beginning of real vision. You can be certain that real vision will come quickly when this has occurred.
Okay, so anything stand out there?
Well, I remember having this experience before when I was, yeah. Ooh. And I kind of, when it stopped, I missed it. So that was just another push back into this process.
Experience of seeing light and
Yeah.
light episodes.
Yeah. Light episodes.
Mm.
And then everything stopped and it became a bit 3D again. But I think once you glimpse that, once you realize the potential of going deeper, further, let go this image, I was able to see my thoughts today as like a parade of little ants across a big canvas of infinite space. Yeah, and I had this thought, why would I be attached to them? These little black ants. Yeah. Yeah.
Good, yeah. Well, those kinds of visions. I mean, you're still dealing with the domain of perception, but it's helpful.
Yeah.
Use that to as a pointer to that pure formless awareness, which is the canvas. And so the Holy Spirit can use all of these the symbols and imagery to help us.
Good.
Awaken. And if you don't see edges of light, Sue was saying, well, I've never seen that. It's like, well, okay, don't worry too much about it, because it's just a sign, it's a symbol. It's not, oh, I really want to see edges of light now, because now you're making the dream into something that's real, aren't you? This internal, external, individual, interior and exterior, and it's inside out. This is an inside job. So you do the change here. You change your mind, and then it shows up in the external. So you might have, an episode where you see these little light edges. That's just a sign that you're awakening here. And so your sight, everything starts to change. Your perceptions change fundamentally when you change your mind.
Right.
which is what this whole teaching is really about. If you recall my quote, so the quote is, I'll just zoom up there. Change your thoughts and you change your world.
Yes, yes, exactly.
And that is literally true.
Yes.
Some people are like, well, like, how can your thoughts really change the world? But you change your world. That's the whole point. Because your world is perceptual. Your world is as you perceive the world. So you change your thoughts, you change your world instantly. The world changes immediately. You change your thoughts. That's what this is really saying. And these mind training exercises are just there to help you do that. Okay, I'll read the third one, and then we'll go into some practice, shall we? So as we go along, you may have many, quote, light episodes. They may take many different forms, some of them quite unexpected. Do not be afraid of them. They are signs that you're opening your eyes at last.
Yeah.
They will not persist because they merely symbolize true perception, and they are not related to knowledge. These exercises will not reveal knowledge to you, but they will prepare the way to it. He's pointing us to knowledge which lies outside of this domain. Go back here. But knowledge, God, love, oneness, pure formless awareness lies here, and our job is to go there. So in whatever situation, doesn't matter what's happening here in this green, this red ocean of chaos and madness, you experience these things and you simply reference to letting go. I'm going to add that into the diagram actually, because there's a bit of space here. And you reference to letting go. Well, I've had kind of an inspired idea just now. Why don't you paint this? That just came to me. Could you paint?
Yeah, ideas like this are coming to me as well. Yes.
In a different form, obviously, painting would be a creative interpretation of this, but like, how would that look in painting? Well, could be quite interesting to symbolize this in a painting. Yes. And then the painting becomes the instruction medium. So it's not just a kind of boring, this is the best I can do. I'm not an artist, but I guess it's necessary because it's clear. But imagine if you had it in a painting.
Yes.
You go, okay.
It's not coming to you as a Tolkien or a J.K. Rowling kind of route map, is it?
No, it's probably not that obvious. It's not going to involve. It probably involve horses, but probably not little hobbits and
magicians and so on.
Yeah, no, that's somebody else's language. But
no Highland cows, eh?
Well, it's funny you should say that. I'm going to talk to somebody on Saturday about his Highland cows, but that's a sustainability project. But what's coming right now, it's not a very big painting in the studio, but there's so many horses. But then there's these two druid figures as well. And I thought, wow, but I'm quite used to that because figures appear and I don't know who they are. And I just say, you're welcome. And they come. Yeah.
When you paint them.
So if I was consciously using lessons from the course, then that I believe would be very exciting. I'm a bit tired tonight, but I thought very clearly about that at the weekend. So it's interesting you suggested.
Well, that just came to me. It was like, well, why not?
Yes, exactly.
It's visual.
Yeah.
I've got a very kind of boxy arrows because I'm trying to make it clear. But if you did an interpretation of this descent into hell and the way home in a painting, wow, that could be pretty amazing.
Yes.
Symbolizing it. And then that would be a transformational painting of note.
Yeah.
People could look at the painting.
As would a hero's journey painting.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. All of this hero's journey. And maybe that's how your art goes to another level.
I believe so. I do believe this.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the next level. I'm bringing in the next level for sure.
Yeah. And that's kind of exciting. I just kind of got goosebumps there. So we'll see. Ooh.
Me too.
Nice.
Symbolize all this.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the beauty of, like, if you're working in close community like this, you spark each other, and it's like, but there's only one plan here, right? It's the plan of that one minute. Spirit's behind it all, but all of us have these gifts that we're able to bring to it.
Yes.
And then the interaction of people with various gifts doing the work is enormously powerful. It can, that's how the world changes. Only needs a few people to create, my kind of inspiration vision is to create a system for transformation that will really, if you do this and you dedicate yourself to this for a year, you will absolutely change your life. You will come into this awareness of who you really are, that you are really one, and you're really on the path. And yes, it's going to be an unfolding journey. It's not like after 1 year that's the end. But it's like, yes, but I've gone through the hero's journey in a year. I've done that whole cycle, and I feel like I've been on a journey, and I'm coming back into society with some gifts and some extra knowledge. And then, okay, now what do I do? And then there's a whole system that helps people to find useful, productive work, paid work that they can this kind of thing. So it's transformation, but there's a very practical element to it, of how this can then be expressed. And that's still very embryonic, but it's going to involve digital currencies, and it's like we need a new system, really, a system that rewards people who are walking on this path, and values their talents and their abilities and skills, and says, yes, you can actually make a living out of this. You can dedicate your life to this, and there is a way that you can do this, because this is the hardest. I mean, we all know, to really dedicate yourself to spiritual things, the hardest thing is always financial. Well, how are you going to make that?
That's right.
How are you going to make that pay? How are you going to live? Because it's not rewarded by the current system. So, but it's the most valuable thing. So that should be rewarded. Should have a system that does reward that, and that people can live in and work in. So, yeah. Anyway, just some ideas as to where this can go. But it's just one thing at a time. And these conversations is how these things start. So
you're right.
Planting a seed, you have this material, use it. Giving you full license to. It's not really mine. This was actually came from Ken Wapnick, really.
Ah, really?
It was his. Well, it comes from Jesus ultimately in spirit, but Ken Wapnick put this into a talk called "The Descent into Hell," and I listened to the talk, and I'm like, okay, well, let's just put this in a diagram. It makes sense. You can symbolize these levels, and it can be very helpful for people to have a visual of it. And I'm going to show you this as well. So I put this together. Timeline of consciousness on the spiritual escape route. Can you see that?
Uh-huh.
So another diagram. So it's just another way of framing this. Saying, well, on the timeline from birth to death, that's all where we think we are. And we have these various life events, which are often they're traumatic. There's challenges, there's traumas. And the ego is always trying to pull us down into this lower level. It's trying to get you to attach to the timeline, to the character in the dream, to make all these things very real. So each of these things becomes an obstacle to your pure formless awareness. And the letting go just raises you above the timeline. Letting go says, I can just let that go. I don't have to mentally and emotionally attach to that. I don't have to dwell on it. I can raise my mind above the timeline, and at every point on the timeline you have this opportunity. But especially when something's difficult and challenging, and really when you feel that tug, it's a tug of war. The ego is trying to pull you down onto the timeline and go, you are this, and don't forget it, and get you to really delve into the mental and emotional drama of whatever the situation is. That's exactly when you need the letting go to say, okay, but I need to let those powerful thoughts and emotions go. And as I let them go, I'm deconstructing the ego, because that's all it's made out of, is those thoughts and emotions. And then I'm pointing myself in that moment back to oneness, back to pure formless awareness, which is the only truth, really. And so another diagram, another's just symbolic. It's really saying the same thing as this, just in a different form. It's like, okay, so on the timeline, you're going to be playing out all of this stuff, and you're going to be seeming to go forward in time. But actually, what you're always trying to do is go out of time. You're trying to reference to this place, and by letting go of your belief in whatever's happening here, then you are calling upon this God, love, oneness to come into your mind, and it does awaken. So again, you must, like any of these, you want to use these as inspiration for paintings, feel free. I'll send this out tomorrow as an extra diagram. So it's just these tools, it's resources. If you can give people different ways, different tools for looking at it and really starting to see what's going on, that's really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And art could be another one. I mean, there's already an art component in this, the drawing stuff. So maybe in future we could do a workshop this, and you could say, okay, so as part of the course, why don't we do one of the sessions is an art workshop? Okay, we're going to guide you through this, and then they're in your hands. I'm not the person to facilitate that, because I'm not an artist. To guide them to actually do this experientially, and go, okay, well, here this is what you're going to do. This is what. So think about it.
Okay.
It's all
good idea.
Yeah, it's all possible. All right, so I think that brings us to the end of the bits that are worth reading. The rest is practice. So I will take you through a little meditation now, if you like.
Nice.
Okay. So I'm going to put you on mute. So just making yourself comfortable. Sitting feet shoulder width apart, back straight. Cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes. And start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. And the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Clenching the sphincter muscle, that's the muscle you use to lock the energy in, draw it up to your heart center, into the crown of your head. Pausing at the top of the inhale, smile. So just scan your mind, notice any thoughts going on, what's arising in your mind. Remind yourself that these thoughts are just images that I have made. I've made them all up. From the idea of separation, I projected these thoughts outwards, seemingly gone out of my mind. Now they seem to be images in my mind. They seem to be images in the room. Briefly open your eyes and look around the room. Say to yourself, my thoughts are images that I've made. So this, whatever you see, whatever your eyes happen to rest on, is an image that I've made. That, look at something else, is an image I've made. Now close your eyes again and look at the images in your mind. So we have images in our mind. This is where it starts. All images start in our mind. Just notice whatever's there. Breathe into it, create some space, some awareness around these images. And you recognize that these are just images you've made up. They're not true, they're not real, they have no substance. They are like clouds. Just drifting by, so as you exhale, blow them away with the breeze of your breath. Find some stillness beyond the battleground, beyond the clouds, the illusions, shifting, changing forms, images, all the time blowing through your mind, forming and reforming. It's like the clouds. Nothing remains the same for an instant. So find this peace and the stillness at the bottom of the exhale. Just merging into it. Beyond thoughts, beyond images, lies the peace of God that passes all understanding. Connect with that space in your mind, this holy presence. So just have a sense of this exquisite stillness. And clear the mind, you let go of all of its images. You rise above the battleground, you're in the clear blue sky of your pure formless awareness and the light that shines through it. So just let that shine in your mind, through your mind. And it'll give you a feeling of deep rest and quiet, stillness. Just breathing in and out through your nose. Noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. And subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Just observing the breath flowing into and out of the nostrils. And sinking in, going inwards, let the breath take you deeper, deeper, deeper and deeper with each breath into the still, calm, quiet place in your mind. Beyond the body, beyond this world. There's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Next couple of minutes, just breathe, relax, be still. Sink inwards to stillness, the peace, lies beyond all the images that you've made, beyond all thoughts, beyond all images, beyond the clouds, beyond a visualized. Just this eternal, brilliant blue sky, pure formless awareness, rising in, shining through your mind. Nothing else to go, nothing else to do. Please relax and be still. Just sink into the peace of God that passes all understanding. Peace of pure formless awareness. It's been called. Any thoughts arise at all, just apply today's idea to them. So this thought is an image that I have made, image that I've made up. So there's no reality and no substance. So gently coming back, deep state of awareness into the body and the breath, senses, the world. On the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Noticing any thoughts going on in your mind. Remind yourself to lessen my thoughts or just images that I've made, so I can let them go. They have no reality, no true substance. So I exhale, just release them. Notice how the air flows out. So you exhale, chest and the stomach suck back in. Stomach into the spine. Notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, feet touching the ground. Noticing what you're feeling with your hands touching. There's a subtle taste in your mouth, smell in your nose. As you breathe in again, notice that smell, notice what you're hearing. Breathing in, count of 2. Noticing the air flowing into your nostrils, chest and the stomach rise. Notice any smell in your nose, maybe there's a taste in your mouth. Notice what you're hearing. Notice any smell in your nose, taste in your mouth. Notice what you're hearing. Pay attention to the subtle sounds, whatever noises are going on around you. It's a slight ticking of the clock, the whirring of your computer fan. You notice that most noises rise and pass away, even if it's a continuous sound like a computer fan. Fluctuates, it's changing, and it's not always going to be on. Turn the computer off, the computer fan stops being on. So notice seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, and now what you see. On the count of 3, open your eyes. Take a minute just to look around and practice the idea one more time. So as you look around you, very casually, just apply it to whatever you see around you. Say, my thoughts are images that I've made, and so this, whatever it is, name it, is an image that I've made. This, whatever, is an image that I've made. Do that for half a dozen objects. Notice how you're feeling as you do it. Should be feeling pretty calm, detached and peaceful. So you're practicing detaching your mind from the images that it's made, perceiving the projections differently, not as one, but as separate things. That's how you cultivate this awareness of truth. Jesus says, don't include a large number of specific subjects, because you won't be able to. And remind yourself one more time that my thoughts are images that I have made. Okay, that brings us to the end of the meditation. So Iona and Richard, do you want to do some text reading? Or is it too late and you're too tired?
Text as in?
As in the Course in Miracles text, yeah. There's a section called, where are we? Judgment and the Authority Problem. It's 11 paragraphs.
Wow.
I know. Are you up for it?
Chancing your arm.
Eh?
That's how you're chancing your arm.
I think it would be a good idea for me to leave it tonight.
Yeah.
Yet an earlier night.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a bit. I'm traveling this week in the middle of the week, so I'll try to catch up just as I can.
Yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So shall we leave it? Shall we leave it there? It's a good one. It's worth reading this. Judgment and Authority Problem. If we embark on this now, we're going to be probably another hour, I'm guessing. It's quite a bit too.
Have a look at paragraph number 5 there.
Yeah.
Go back to paragraph 5, Jono.
Yes. That's so interesting, eh? Shall we read that?
Just read the first sentence. Ida.
I know.
Paragraph 5. When you feel tired, oh, thanks. It's because you judge yourself as capable of being tired. Yep. I get it. I know. I was listening to myself earlier on. It's like, oh my God, I'm tired. And it's a thought. And my mind is making my body tired with the very thought, the weight of the thought. Yeah, I get that. And there's other stuff crowding into my head as well.
Yeah, interesting.
I'm going to read it myself now. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, that's my decision. Yeah.
That's going to be your bedtime reading.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, as you saw on Friday night, Jono, it's like if I get dragged into a cinema, that dark environment,
you go to sleep.
I'm nodding in no time at all. If I close my eyes, I mean, people, if I had to say to somebody, I'm better than you at something, it'd be how fast I can go to sleep. So,
no, that probably means you're not getting enough sleep, but
yeah, well, I'm not.
So,
what is the number of this lesson, please, Jono?
So this is text, chapter 3, section 6, judgment and the authority problem.
Okay.
It's called. So he talks about the last judgment and then goes into what judgment is and the authority problem, which is really the only problem we have. It's a good one.
Yeah, excellent.
So read it tonight, and that'll probably send you off to sleep, I'd imagine.
Well, it
you
says
get to paragraph 4 and you drop off. That's not unusual.
Yeah.
Probably not as quickly as auditing textbooks would.
Auditing textbooks?
Yeah.
Is that what you got to do?
No, but I'm talking about in the past. That's like a...
Yeah. It's like a mind, just like...
Yeah, exactly.
Just can't.
So you gotta watch the ego though, because it's very cunning. It's going to tell you that you're tired. You're too tired to do A Course in Miracles, and then it puts you to sleep because it doesn't actually want you to. It doesn't want you to learn this.
That's true.
So one has to be aware that tiredness is just another ego defense. Ultimately, I mean, I suppose at some point you hit human limits of like, okay, well, I do need some rest or sleep, but I think a lot of the time it's just no. I mean, people make themselves tired. I go to my sister, I'm so exhausted. She says, I'm like, why are you exhausted? I've only had 4 hours sleep. Well, so have I. I'm not exhausted. I'm fine.
Yeah.
So it just depends, on how you process it and what your mind's telling you, and upgrading our minds and saying, well, no, actually, I'm capable of a lot more than I think I am. Because the spirit doesn't get tired.
I think there's another aspect to it, and if you're working on your purpose, your why, you don't get tired.
Yeah.
When you're in on that path, when you're in the why.
That's not entirely true. At 8 o'clock in the morning after a night, I'm tired. There's no doubt.
Yes, but for a long time you're not tired.
Yes,
yeah, much further than you would on a normal night.
Exactly. You can go a lot further, and because you've got a purpose, and it's like, this is, this keeps you going.
That's my phone.
If you don't really have a purpose and you just kind of pleasure seeking, trying to fill your time with whatever distractions are available, which is kind of what my sister's life is, then there's no real, where's the inspiration to continue? So I'm I'm just so tired. I just need to rest. Oh, let me just tune out and watch TV for another 3 hours.
But
So
just
we do that.
stating that a different way, those tend to be people that don't have hope.
Yeah, and so in many ways there's a there's a despair that underlies it, because like, what am I really doing with my life? Where am I going? What's this all about? And actually they have no idea. They're just trying to temporarily fix it and make it nicer. Well, if I have pleasurable experiences, then that's a nice day. But there's no like deeper, where's the purpose? Like, why are you really here? Who are you? Why are you here? Unless you answer those questions, whatever you're doing is pretty superficial generally. It's not going to be coming from a deeper self. So when you do find that, this course has come from inspiration. I just felt inspired to do it, and I'm still inspired. I'm still putting in hours and hours and hours of work on it, because it's like, well, like, there's a process here. I can see that this benefits people, and why couldn't this benefit many more people? And so that's the inspiration coming through it and saying, okay, well, yes, listen to me and I'll guide you in what to do and how this needs to evolve, and then you do have, you certainly do have a lot more energy and staying power than ordinary people that I've noticed in my experience. Someone who's not inspired.
Yeah.
And on that note, shall we call it a night?
Yeah, this human being is going to leave now, and I'm going to be human for a while. But I know I'm on purpose. So cheers. Thanks.
Who still left the building?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Hopefully see you in the week. Join us if you can. Tomorrow, if you can. Iona, I don't know if you said you're traveling, but join us if you can. And just work on doing exercises 5 and 6.
Will do. Okay.
Yeah. Till Sunday. Okay.
Start this morning. Cheers.
Right.
Bye.
All right.
Good. Thanks. Bye.
Namaste. All right.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining.